do something you're very passionate about.
You have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing.
More important is putting yourself in a business that can be ubiquitous.
But here's specifically why it's actually a great one. You want to sound crazy, but you want to actually be right.
Because when so many things go wrong when you're starting a company, and often I think people ask, what mistakes should you avoid making? And, my answer...
What if I told you? The thing you wake up for every morning, the thing people kill for, the thing that decides where you live, what you eat, and how free you are, isn't real. Money has no value on its own. You can't eat it, you can't drink it, yet somehow it controls everything. In the last few years alone, the United States created trillions of dollars digitally, more money than was created in decades before, and people accepted it without question. And here's the scary part. The moment you stop believing in money, the entire system collapses. So today, let's talk about money as an illusion, a paradox, and a matrix you're living inside without even realizing it. Let's start with something called a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme works like this. Early investors get paid with the money from newer investors. There's no real product, no real value. It only works as long as new people keep joining. Sounds illegal, right? Now here's the uncomfortable question. What if I told you the modern financial system runs on the same logic? Governments borrow money they don't have to pay debts they already owe by issuing new debt.
It's a record-breaking number that fiscal watchdogs are not celebrating. The United States debt surpassed $38 trillion, with the tab piling up even as the government is in the middle.
The problem with this national debt record is that we just keep on breaking it.
Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget President Maya McGinnis called the number appalling and said lawmakers are debating the wrong priorities as they try to figure out how to reopen the government. Another troubling sign is just how fast the $38 trillion line was crossed. The U.S. had just hit $37 trillion in gross national debt in August. The $1 trillion jump in 2 months was the fastest accumulation of debt outside of COVID.
The U.S. government doesn't pay off debt. It rolls it forward, year after year. Today, America's national debt is over $34 trillion, and just the interest on that debt costs more than $1 trillion every single year. And yet, no one panics. Markets stay open. Life goes on. Why? Because as long as people believe the system will continue, it does. Belief is the only thing holding it together. Here's the first conflict. What happens if belief disappears? Money isn't backed by gold anymore. It's backed by trust. If trust breaks, banks collapse, markets crash, and savings vanish. We've seen this before. During the Great Depression, thousands of banks failed and millions lost everything. In 2008, the stock market lost more than half its value, and trillions of dollars disappeared almost overnight.
Down 1.7% here, a loss of 37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%.
We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
Two-year no yields went from 190 to 166 in the blink of an eye.
On the NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped out.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
People lined up at banks only to find their money was already gone. But here's the comeback. Every time the system cracks, it doesn't get fixed, it gets patched. More money is printed. Interest rates are manipulated. Inflation quietly steals purchasing power. Since 1971, after the U.S. left the gold standard, the dollar has lost over 85% of its value. You're working harder, but buying less. That's not a coincidence. That's design. Money is the language of control. You don't chase happiness, you chase currency.
The company gives your family a couple $1 million.
You don't follow passion.
Nothing more and nothing less.
You follow paychecks. Debt keeps you obedient. Mortgages keep you stationary. Credit cards keep you quiet. In America today, more than half the population lives paycheck to paycheck while asset prices like stocks and real estate continue to rise. Inflation becomes a silent tax, one you never voted for and can't escape. Here's the second conflict. Even if you see the illusion, you can't escape it. Try living without money. No rent, no food, no health care. You're trapped in the game whether you like it or not, and the more debt you carry, the fewer choices you have. In America, the average household carries tens of thousands of dollars in debt from student loans, medical bills, and credit cards.
A new report from the New York Fed says total household debt reached a record $18.6 trillion from July through September. And here's how that all breaks down. The biggest chunk of debt, $13 trillion, comes from mortgages, which is not surprising given how expensive it is to buy a home. Auto loans and student loans are next at about $1.7 trillion. Then you got credit card debt at $1.2 trillion. All of those are record highs.
Debt isn't a mistake. It's the fuel of the system. But here's the second comeback. Some people stop playing defense and start playing understanding. They learn how money actually works. They learn the difference between assets and liabilities. They stop trading time for survival and start using money as a tool instead of letting it control them. Because money isn't evil. It's neutral. The illusion isn't money. The illusion is thinking money defines your worth. Here's a fact that should stop you. Most money today isn't printed. It's created digitally when banks issue loans. That means money is born from debt. Every dollar begins as something owed, and someone somewhere is paying interest on it. This is why growth is mandatory, why markets must keep rising, and why crashes are always rescued. Here's the final conflict. If everyone became financially free, the system would collapse. It needs workers, it needs consumers, it needs borrowers. And that's the paradox. You're told money equals freedom, but the system profits when you never reach it. So here's the real awakening. Money isn't the goal. Understanding money is. Once you see it as a game, you stop letting it define your identity. You stop chasing numbers and start chasing leverage, meaning, and time. Because in the end, money is imaginary, but time is not. So ask yourself, if money is just an illusion, why are you sacrificing your entire life for it? And more importantly, who are you without it?